You're listening to the VRverse, a virtual reality podcast where two friends talk all things VR. Now, let's join your hosts, the VR Realm and Dr. Oculus.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 40. Oop, I'm pulling the microphone guard of the VRverse.
Could be worse.
Yep. Be pulling something worse when the cameras come on. This month you've just got me and the lovely co-host Dr. Oculus.
Good evening.
In his latest piece of tech that he's been buying, add to his collection.
Yeah, I figured I would dip into the past and buy the Microsoft HoloLens, which, by all accounts, from the brief testing that I did, is now just basically defunct. You go on and it's like, you should use Microsoft Edge for this. So you load up Microsoft Edge and it says, you should use Microsoft Edge for this. And you're like, I'm in Edge. Download Edge now. It doesn't work. But maybe I can view 3D prints like the mini-me.
Yeah.
View that in 3D, or I could actually just literally look at the shelf behind me. But still, yeah. So it's going on ahead. It's functional. It's fine. And it's lovely, and it's a part of my history.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna treasure it.
I remember buying one and selling it about 2 months later.
Yeah, I paid less than £100. So it's all right to preserve it for posterity, for reasons.
So I got mine.
It's also very warm.
I paid about 1,200 for mine off eBay, off a company that used it once. They basically needed it for a presentation and they were selling it, but then after 2 months not liking it, I got 1,400 in cash from CEX for it. So I was like, I'll just take it up. I'll make a profit on it. I've tried it for a few months.
Probably take that into CEX and get more than £100 for it, to be fair. Like I've had my eye on a bunch of them for ages and I've been like, £400, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And when I started going for 100, I was like, wow, that's kind of dope. Which, interestingly, then Tyriel Wood reached out and was just like, where did you get that? I was like, it was on eBay. I was like, oh man, that sucks. I was like, there's a second one, So I've managed to shoehorn Tyriel Wood into buying one as well. So sorry, Tyriel. You're a tech nerd. You know you want it.
I can remember getting when I got Mana Farm, I'm going to set it up. I'll just do some streaming, showing bits off. Because, I mean, it looks good on the stream because I get the view that we're not getting. I get like a view like we were seeing it in full. Not in a little 40 FOV that you get in it or something.
It really does. I mean, going from that to say the X-Rail Airs, oh my god. The clarity, the just the actual image, like the visibility of the image itself. The HoloLens is functional in a dark room. In a mildly lit room, it is completely pointless. The X-Rails, you can still mildly see them in a very well lit room. And then they've got the shades that you put on and it's just instantly visible. But yeah, the size of the image and the clarity of the image dwarfs the HoloLens.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how different it is. Which, I mean, in their defense, they've got
the start of the tech, wasn't
probably
it?
about 8 years on them. So, they were ahead of their time, but that's definitely behind the times now.
Yeah.
I would love to see a 2. I've never seen a 2. I'd tried a HoloLens 1. Way back when. This is part of my history. I tried a HoloLens 1 when there was a VR arcade opening up in Lincoln called Tension Twisted Realities, it was called. And they set it up in an old disused church.
Right.
They basically created the first VR arcade that I knew of its kind in my area. And I was chatting with the owner because I, naturally being a VR nerd at that time, was just like, hey, what's going on? Can I pop down at some point and just check it out? And they were like, oh my God, the first YouTuber's reached out. Yes, yes, please come. And they invited me to the press night. And then just as things went on, the owner was just like, hey, we've got this new HoloLens thing in. Do you want to see it? I was like, I was never going to get a chance to see that. Yeah, cool. So I went back down again a second time. And then, strangely enough, being a massive nerd, I turned to the wife and I was like, I don't care about wedding parties and stuff. She's like, yeah, I get that. We'll not spend a lot. I was like, can I have a VR room? And she's like, what the fuck you want about, Andrew? And so I reached out to them and I said, look, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but have you ever considered making a mobile version of what you have there? Get a PC that's mobile, couple of base stations, and do it on a mobile basis. And they were like, no. I was like, oh, right, think about it. Tell me a number and get back to me.
Mm.
And they gave me a number, which was incredibly reasonable. I was like, brilliant. I want to help you out. Whatever logistics you need to figure out, sort that out. And then I'll make sure you're fed. Like you can eat what we eat. It's fine. And they came to my wedding and they brought not only a Vive and set a Vive up in a room, but they also set up the HoloLens for people to try. So people were at my wedding playing on a HoloLens.
Ah, nice.
And I was like, okay, I want one of those just for that reason alone. Just so I can say, yeah, we had one of these at the wedding. It was this one, I could lie. But yeah, so I can't remember much about it, to be honest. I vaguely remember a really cool detective game
Mm.
and then tinkering with the 3D models
Yeah.
and then playing with myself. Wait, no. Watching videos and things on a large screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember doing with the HoloLens. I can't find the detective game. As previously mentioned, the browser's not overly functional. So 3D models is kind of all I can do with it now.
Yeah, I think when I had mine, I played a game where things broke out your wall, like ships, and you had to shoot them.
Okay.
And then there was a thing where it made your room half full with water, and there was a shark underneath that swam at you. I think they're like the main things.
No whales jumping out of basketball courts or anything?
No. And then what was the other one? Oh, they did one where it had a 3D render of a human eye, and you could like click through the layers, and it'll tell you information about that layer of the eye and stuff. Obviously, it wasn't really made for gaming, was it? It was made for that sort of stuff.
No.
So,
Yeah. So like most things Windows, you use the Microsoft Store. And you go into the store, and even the Microsoft Store, you're like, oh yeah, show me all software that you have for this. And they're like, something went wrong, try again later.
yeah.
Even the Microsoft Store has given up on this thing. So I wish I could have done more with it way back when, but I've got it now, and it will sit nicely on a head. Probably I need to
Yeah, it's got a bit more about
paint it more.
a bit more about your history, though, isn't it? Because like if you had it at your wedding, it's got some like
Yeah, exactly.
some relation there. It's not just like you tried one in the thingy. It's got something to do with you. Day you got married and stuff. So be nice. Would be nice to have one. If I had that, I'd want one just to say, like you said, it's a piece of history, not just of the tech, but of your life. Like,
Yeah. It's been a long old journey for me. Very long journey. Over a decade at this point. I think it was 2014. I'm gonna check. Do you have anything like that in your history, in your past?
not really. Just I just get a lot of stuff through FOMO. I need to try it through FOMO, and then it gets when I get, and then obviously if it takes.
I fear the Switch 2 may do that to me. I have zero use for it. Switch is somewhere, and I kind of don't care. But at the same time, I know I'm gonna want one.
I had it. Well, I bought a Switch, and then I sold my Switch, and then when Animal Crossing come out, I went and bought another Switch. Played Animal Crossing, then sold the Switch because I was just like, I wanted to just play Animal Crossing, and that was it. Like,
yeah.
Prior to that,
that's fair.
my first Switch got used a bit, but it was more for visual novels because it's perfect for visual novels because you can carry it anywhere you want to be and still play them.
And I've never tried the VR. I never tried the Labo.
No, I did. And
Yeah, I never did it. It just seemed to me like it would be pointless.
I got the one where you built the gun, like the big long sniper looking thing, and spent about 5 hours building it and was bored of the games in about 30 minutes. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I get. Like, I'm just gonna not care about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build it and be like, oh yeah, you press this to flap your wings, dear. Brilliant. Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb.
Yeah. I think mine will be decade in VR. Will be next year because I got PlayStation VR 1 was my first, and that was formal. Before I got into VR, I ran the website that was covered just flat games, more indie stuff than the main things because I enjoyed seeing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then E3 when they announced the PSVR 2, the PSVR 1, and it's past E3 now. It's gone. Watch that. They unveiled the PlayStation VR 2 and sat down after it, wrote a post for the website about what excited me, what didn't excite me at E3, and like, but the thing that least excited me was PlayStation VR. I said it's going to be a gimmick that, like all the other stuff, Sony will drop within like a month, and then within a few months, and then they'll never do anything.
I mean, you were a tiny bit right. Took them a bit longer than a month.
Yeah.
But
and then
yeah,
release day came, and I was like, I want one, and then I managed to find Argos in well, not even the one in Middlesbrough, the one on the retail park. I had one in, and I was just like, great, that's it. I'm gonna in work. I'm gonna order it now to collect. I'll go after work. And the rest was history.
FOMO bought my PSVR. For sure it did. I was I felt left out by Firewall. People had this gun and they were shooting things and they were having a great time, and I felt massively left out. And I was like, I want to get that. And I started looking into it, and I could get a PSVR with Resident Evil, Astrobot, Firewall, and the gun for about 250 odd quid from Smiths, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so I bought it. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm in, screw it. I bought it. And I played Resident Evil and I played Astrobot and I stood around in lobbies in Firewall. I, did what I wanted to do. I did get to touch tips with GT a few times and Zim and that, but Firewall was my biggest disappointment, I think, in that whole process. Firewall was like, I was going to say, mate, the gun was the biggest disappointment. The gun was the biggest part of my problem with Firewall.
Yeah.
But the gun worked fine with
Farpoint.
Yeah. The gun worked fine with Farpoint, just not with Firewall. It just drifted like mad all the time on Firewall. It drove me insane.
Yeah, I never ever tried Firewall on PSVR 1. I just wasn't in the mood for it. And then at the time, I was like, I've got better games on PC VR and I'm not paying. I didn't pay for PS Plus then because I didn't ever play anything online. So I was like, I'm going to have to pay £40 a year to play this one game, which I've got a better things on PC VR, better gun shooting games.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say, you not playing Firewall shocks me.
I used to watch people stream.
On the basis of...
I used to watch people stream, and I know what you mean with the gun. There was so many people used to wiggle the guns, like the gun controller. You just see suddenly the gun going all over, but they're wiggling it to get it to like start tracking properly again.
The tip of my gun was constantly drifting away. I would be like this, aiming forward, just aiming at like 11 o'clock to go for 12, and it just pissed me off so much. So yeah, it was disappointing, but it was a part of my history. It was part of my
I think when
process.
that came out, I was into Standout, which obviously I played endlessly. I had the Pro Tube. I was just like, this light gun isn't going to do anything for me. This plastic thing I'm holding to play that game. Like,
Do you know, I've just bought a Pro Tube. I finally bit the bullet and bought a Pro Tube. I race with Boren on the Zim Racing, which is actually on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So if you want to join, head on over to racing.zimtalk5.com, I think. Or you could just head on over and join us in Gran Turismo. But yeah, so I was been racing with Boren for years. Who, those of you who don't know him, he's basically a big part of ProTube. I think he's one of the designers. I can't remember. So I kind of want to support Boren, and then they've done I didn't realize they did various different YouTubers.
yeah,
But they've done a Techman.
Yeah, I seen the Techman
one. Version of it, and I was like, Techman, Julian's kind of the dude. All right, I want to support Techman as well. And it's the ProTube Carbon, so it's the good version with the mag cups.
I've got my
because I was like, wait, why don't I just buy the ProTube and then just buy the Techman back shoulder stock, because it's cheaper. But then I realized I was getting the carbon version. I was like, all right, screw it, I'm buying the Techman version. And so yeah, I bought that. So that's due to arrive on Friday, I think. But I also bought the golf club.
I've got the
because I wanted the golf club more than anything. Admittedly, I wouldn't mind the other one. I can't remember who makes it.
Got the Carbon.
The Walkabout Mini Golf. But you have the Force Tube.
Yeah.
Oh, you fancy man.
I didn't pay. Like, I've had a good relationship with Pro Tube since, because I started covering them when they first come out. Like, that's when and so they just sent me all sorts. Force Tube.
Nice.
They sent me the pistol, the golf club.
Do you have the Protas?
I do.
See, I'm curious to know how the Protas goes with Dig VR.
I could try, because I've got PlayStation VR cups. I could actually try.
Yeah.
And it's just like attachable cups.
Hey Southpaw, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Yeah, the Dig VR. I wonder if it would be quite good for controlling things with the controllers strapped to your chair arms.
We only get one, so you'd have to buy two for Dig VR, wouldn't you? Because two.
I think you could get away with one.
Yeah.
To be honest. Because one of them, it's more like moving levers forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, it's for like twisting the cab. So I think you could probably get away with just the one.
Got the golf club somewhere as well.
But no, who was it? There was somebody else did a golf club, and that's got like a trigger on it that will allow you to like pull the trigger and stuff on the controller.
This thing.
Which I think is nice, but yeah, that's one of them that's been on the bucket list for a while. I don't know if I dare, like swing with it. Like a full-on golf swing. That every peripheral kind of scares me.
I think I've used
swinging it like that.
Use it for PlayStation. The Pro Tube one. But obviously, I moved too much in Walkabout Mini Golf, and that's the first time I tried to do a proper swing to get let's just use brute force and try and get up these ramps. I managed to like whack the Max gaming chair that was in the corner and fire the controller off and all sorts. I was like, oh no. But it worked after it.
Yeah, you just kind of
you just got to be aware of your space.
You don't need that in your life. So I don't know whether I would like play the golf game that's definitely not everybody's golf on Quest.
Yeah, I've had I've worked with Pro Tube for a while, so every now and then I just randomly get a message saying, we're going to send you this. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair. So I've got that to look forward to. Do you remember the first bit of hardware you got? Like just randomly sent. You've had some really dope hardware in the past. Like I've been full on green with envy of some of the stuff you've had.
First hardware I got sent was the 3D rudder. A little plate on that you put that you sat down to play. It was like just a little plate you put your foot on and you tilted it like a for your analog. Yeah,
I remember that.
I think
they were gonna fix the world of PSVR.
I think I've got the PC one and the PSVR one in the room behind the curtain.
But the problem is that it just never worked with any of the PSVR games because nobody ever like bothered to implement
I think there was
it.
about
Why would you?
3 or 4 that got it implemented on the PlayStation VR.
Yeah. Which, in its defense, for the PSVR, it's like needed.
It was for the PSVR one.
PSVR. Yeah. Why would you develop anything in with that when nobody's got it?
I think when they sent me it, there was 4.
Yeah, I remember those.
There was 4 games available, and then they were just like, "Yeah, do this." I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll play that." Yeah, and then it ended up just going. No games after that actually got any support for it. So it's like the 4 came out with. Like, they never did anything with it afterwards. So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, which is a shame. It is a shame. Because that would have been really great.
The weirdest one I've been sent was the Lucid Link, and that support dropped straight away. It was like the faceplate for the Vive that allowed you to use your concentration to do stuff like grow fireballs to fight your dragon and stuff.
This is one of the ones that I was like, I really want that. Because it was like neural. Wait, did you get 2 like neural controlling devices?
Yeah, I got Lucid Link and I got the next, whatever it was called. I think it's on the
Yeah.
And I was asking about it the other day.
Yeah, I was thinking like that would be. I would love to train that thing.
I must have put it back.
So then I could literally just do everything with it. Because that's one of those things that just the more you train it, the more functional it becomes, right?
Yeah. The next one was like I found it the other day and I was like, oh my god, I remember playing with that loads. And I got it back on, went to the website, and some companies bought them, and then they're not even doing it anymore. So like, I was like,
yeah,
I couldn't even download the game. They had the game where the aliens would attack you, and you'd have to look at them and concentrate to get their brains to explode. And that was the only VR thing they did with it, and that wasn't available to download off the site anymore. I was like, oh, I can't even do this anymore. Found the software, but not
honestly, I'd use it for like editing.
Hey,
I would just use it for that. It's something that I think has just got infinite use cases. You just bind all kinds of stuff to it. You could stand there and just think to yourself, take a screenshot, and then it just takes a screenshot. That would be amazing. I would love that. But it's the
going through hardware that I've been sent, like things I've reviewed on the website, and I can't even find my review for the 3D rudder, the first one. I have the PlayStation ones on there.
I never had the pleasure, but it was a great idea, especially for PSVR. PC, I was like, we've got thumbsticks, we give a crap about using your feet. But PSVR, like a way of moving, was essential.
At the time,
they could have really done gangbusters.
I got on PC. I had to use the Vive one, so it was quite a blessing at that time.
Yeah, I guess so. You're absolutely right. The Vive ones. I was gonna say I've not had to use Vive ones. I have had to use Vive ones, and I actually have a set. I don't think I've ever actually tried them.
You don't want to,
but I do have some. But yeah, the thought of moving around, pressing that touchpad in, like, ooh, yeah, that sounds dire. So I get that.
Any other ways? I mean, you got sent some cyber shoes as well, didn't you?
That was my first bit of tech. I was like, me? Cyber shoes? All right.
And
I do dig them. I'm just too fat and lazy to use them.
Walkover sent me a motion capture dongles, which can be used for body tracking as well.
Nice.
They were very really hard to set up with anything. It just didn't seem to wanna. It always seemed to think my hip was my leg and stuff. It was all they're all very weird to use. But the idea was as well you can
All a
either
barrier.
use them as full body tracking, or you could attach them, and which it worked great for, was like attach them and walk on the spot, like moving games.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they were originally made for. And then they brought a motion capture version out, which also second as body trackers, but they just didn't really map right when you were body tracking.
Yeah. It's there are people. It's body tracking is for a certain kind of person. But I'm not it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to be a furry without actually ever making a costume. I have like it's not going to be me. I don't need to track my body. If I wanted to track my body, I would just show you me. So yeah, I'm not going to need it.
DPVR have sent me both their headsets, and then the latest one was a True Gear haptic vest. And all the rest are just random peripherals that go with the Quest. Although I've got one in the post at the moment, the arcade stick. Is it the X?
Oh, the one that everybody had about 3 or 4 months ago, and everyone was like, "You have the arcade stick, but your headset is the monitor."
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I look forward to hearing about this.
That's currently at the processing center in America, waiting to be exported. So there's about the 6th of May estimated delivery, so I should have it. Hopefully.
Oh, lovely. That's not too far away. Oh, it's like a week. Obviously, other tech that I have been amazingly blessed to receive is a Wooja vest.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker. I bought the first one. They sent me the third, I bought the second one, and they sent me the third one. And then also a Roto VR, which I love, but my arse goes numb after an hour. It's a great way of keeping me in my sport. I'm looking forward to when they start adding things like steering wheel mounts to that. So yeah, looking forward to that for sure. Other than that, tech-wise, I mean, I've got the X-Real Air 2s. I didn't get sent those. I got lucky enough to find the right link to the right time and be in the right place to get those, which was an absolute godsend. And that they are, if I had to pick the best bit of tech, probably those. I would say they are just amazing. I absolutely love them. So yeah, if I had to gun to the head choose my favorite, that's probably them. I don't think everything else I've admittedly got for ridiculously priced, like low prices. I did get a Rift S for free. That's just more for the collection. I've never actually plugged it in. Yeah, John at SciTech Games is like, "You collect headsets, right?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "John Rift." Yeah, I do. So, John, you're an absolute legend. And that would have been wonderful about 10 years ago.
We need to get John. We need to get John on here to talk. We'll have to speak to him.
John and I have had many conversations about this, and we both remember events very, very differently. I maintain I've asked him, and he swears down I've never asked him. And so I said, "Well, look, there is always a chair open for you, John. You can come on whenever you want." He's like, "Okay, yeah, fair enough." So John wants to come on. John will come on. I'm going to drag him here kicking and screaming when Titan Isles comes out. I just don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's when we need to get him on when he's
I will.
He's very good to talk about it. I think when did I first meet John was EJX Res when he was showing off Windlands, when they were showing off Windlands 2. First time I met him then.
That's a while ago.
Yeah.
See, John was the first. Well, John, Windlands, I think, was the first time anybody ever said, do you want to play my thing?
Mm.
Every other one, I'd either purchased it or it was just free for everybody. I think. Do you know what? I'm gonna go back through. I'm going through the old channel.
I think Winlands was also nearly one of the first ones I got given to review on PSVR. Like, where it was offered
Say
to me.
Windlands. I mean Windlands 2. Windlands 1. Did I record that? Windlands 1 I bought myself. That much I remember. Because I remember playing it in the DK2. Because back in the DK2 days, there were about 6 games. That's all. There were not many games at all. So yeah, Windlands 1 I bought myself, and I was like, oh my god, this is terrifying. I don't like being high up. Windlands 2 is greater than Windlands 1. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Windlands 1, they obviously learned a lot for Windlands 1, and it just increased exponentially for Windlands 2.
Yeah, Robinson the Journey was the first one I was ever given to review. From SciTech.
You never played that?
And then Sports Bar VR.
No, I did. I played it late on a wheel.
Yeah, Sports Bar VR, and then Windlands. So Windlands was the third game I was actually ever given to review.
And look, there are some real sort of tentpole moments for me. So September 17th, 2014 is when I published my first YouTube video. And that was a Unity My Little Pony game. I'd say game. It had quests and all of the ponies were in it and stuff. I knew nothing about any of it. Well, I was like, okay, I'll play this. That was my very first thing, and it was mind-blowing. That was when it started crafting me as the YouTuber that I am today. And I went, so back in those days, the DK2 didn't work very well. Everything was kind of set up for a DK1. So I kind of got it working first. I was like, okay, this one works, because you would download stuff off of the Oculus, not the store. Like, it was just a forum at that point. You would download it and you would try it, and it worked or it didn't. It might work. It might automatically go into your headset, or you had to trick it into the headset, and so many different bits and bobs you had to do. It was a real pain in the arse. But if you stuck with it, it was incredibly rewarding. And so I got that one working, and so I played that one first. The story has been told a million times. There's a short video on it. I'll get people links if you demand it. So that was a real tentpole moment for me. And then everything after that was just amazing. Like, I loved all of the stuff I tried. It was all new and weird. You got the Matrix Jump Simulator was my second video. So many great things. The first venture into VR horror, Nowhere Dread, and then Affected VR with a creepy little girl singing Ring a Ring of Roses.
Affected is still like a fantastic one now. Like,
just watching that game evolve as it has. So I played that in October 2014. I played Affected, and you can play that game now, and there's a sequel that's multiplayer, I want to say.
I believe so, yeah.
Soonish.
Yeah.
I think it was due last year, but it got pushed everything got pushed. Just that really made me realize that VR was just next level for me. In a big bad way. And then the next game that I was like, oh my god, this is... Do you remember the first thing you played and then was instantly like, right, this, if somebody comes to my house, this is what I'm going to put them in?
Robinson the Journey. Even just in the intro, get them to open the pod door and just see the world outside. Because, I mean, I go back and just play that every now and then, like, to this day, just so I can just and only do that part where I walk out, open the thing, and it still blows my mind. Like,
I've not seen that in it. I remember playing it. I think part of the wheel streams I used to do, but it was so like the precursor to that was Dinosaur Island, the game. I say game, the experience where you basically sat in a T-Rex's nest. And that was just crazy. That was like my I had top tier, so I had like gamer, you play this one, or like grandma, oh, I watched this VR thing, never ever do anything. You play this one, and that's the Back to Dinosaur Island and Back to Dinosaur Island 2 when they released that. They were my go-to. Okay, this is what I put Muggles in.
Yeah,
and then people that are a bit more gamer, a bit more heavy in that process. I would put them in to Vox Machine. I don't know how to pronounce that fucking word. I don't.
I don't. It's like tomato.
It's since gone. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. It's since gone like miles on from when I played it back in. When did this video come out? December 2014. So I played this in December 2014. I heard they were doing a contest, and people that made content would be put into a prize draw, and you could potentially win the game for free. I was like, ooh, I like that. Free is a good prize. So I made the video. It turned out to be the best thing I ever saw in the DK2, and I actually won.
Nice.
Which, strangely enough, was a time when my path with Bol crossed, and I had no idea. So the winners of that were essentially me, Bol, and about 3 other people, I think. And I had no idea who the other people who won it were. But Bol was one of them. I had no clue.
I think when did we first cross paths in VR?
I don't know.
Was it
I remember playing.
I'm trying to remember what that
was. It Onward with you? Well, that was arranged after a thing.
Yeah, Carnage Chronicles. I think me, you, and Marty Dude, was it? Or Marty?
No.
No, we
what
went.
About?
I know we went into
Marcus.
Remarcus. That's it. No, Remarcus.
No, not Remarcus.
No, Marcus. Sorry, yeah, Remarcus is the one that was the arcade, isn't he? Yeah, just Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus VR. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, where did he go?
I don't know.
Did he? I don't know whether he brought us together. I will skim through.
Marcus might have, yeah. Because I know I remember playing Carnage Chronicles with you and Marcus.
I feel like that was after Windlands, though. Oh, that was a great game. Among the Sleep was all scheduled to have a VR version, and it never came.
Among the Sleep, I thought.
Yeah.
That's what that one that's coming out from Flat to VR is, but it's actually a whole new game, isn't it? Is it Sleep Tight or whatever it is that's coming out?
I don't know.
And I thought it was like it'd be available when the game's released on Steam, and I was just like, huh? And then when I looked into it more, I was like, oh my god, it's not even the one. I couldn't remember what the one I was thinking about was called, but Among the Sleep, yeah, with the teddy. Yeah.
So I bought Among the Sleep, and then it turned out that didn't have a VR mode. So then I managed to find deep in the bowels of the internet a version of the demo that was VR, and I got to try that, and that was just absolutely stunning. And it's a shame it never turned up. It is an absolute shame. Oculus horror games. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Portal. God, I've played some shit in VR. Dirt 3 in VR. Right, so CSGO, Oculus Rift DK2 test. What? I played CS:GO? That's not right. Did CS:GO really have a VR version? I know TF2 did. Holy crap on a cracker! That is CS:GO. That's why I own it. All right, fair enough. Well, that's a thing. I completely forgot that was a thing. So yeah, CS:GO VR version. Who knew? That wasn't even a mod. Just Valve used to virtual reality.
Yeah. I'm sure when that comes up and it doesn't have it anymore, obviously, but it keeps anytime I filter VR, what's it? League of Legends is it comes up as like VR? And then
Yeah, League used to have a VR version.
still comes up when I filter for VR on there, and I'm just like,
no, not League, Dota.
Dota, sorry, yeah, Dota,
Dota 2 used to have a VR version.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that flags up
But
when I'm filtering. I'm like, have it anymore?
It's old, very, very old. Yeah, it was kind of shitty, and I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, it did used to have a VR version. There was one game that I bought called Motorbike. Once again, it was one of these that there was no store, so you're just running it off of an exe. And I paid for the full version because it was great. It was like Trials, but you were in VR. And since then, it's come out and it's gone to the store, but I can't seem to get it again. And I would love to play that game again. I still can't find.
I go, what did I buy? What did I buy for? Oh no, I got a game sent to me, and then actually went and read the reviews on Steam, and it was a game that had done early access, and the Kickstarter to launch, and through early access, it was like non-VR, and then suddenly it was then like the scrap doing it in non-VR and started making it a VR game, and everyone was fuming. Who's obviously backed it and
yeah,
picked up why it's been in early access, and then they're like, oh, why it was just still in early access. It didn't even do a like a VR version. They just made the game VR. Like they were like, oh. It wasn't even that good of a VR game either.
There's been some stinkers. There's definitely been some stinkers. Dying Light, that still works. The VR version of Dying Light 1, you can just change an INI file.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a...
Yeah.
How can you?
So that still works, and I thoroughly recommend you do.
It was a bit like Town of Light, which I think I mentioned a few episodes ago. Where
I own that.
You like
I bought it with the intention, but I never got to play it.
Yeah, we just go and put Wiggly Line VR in the launch options, and it launches in VR. That was like
the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
I've just hit April 2016, and I'm playing Lucky's Tale, which means the CV1 is now out. I don't own it, but it's out. Yeah, Adventure Time Headlands. That was the first VR game I bought from the Oculus store.
One of the first ones I bought when I got my PC was Adventure Time. Someone's mad. It was what was it?
Yeah, the same game.
Yeah, it was like about an hour.
Yeah,
about an hour simple platformer type thing.
Did I put a link to it? God, I was so crap. Ben and Jake virtuality platform gave three friends wander around the land. We were trying to magic change my head back from a balloon.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I played that. Yeah, one of the first ones I bought when I got my PC VR.
Yeah, it was the first game I bought on the Oculus store.
And then got that.
And like you say, it was a couple of hours and then done.
And I got into when I first got my PC VR, which was 2017. I think it was in May after getting the PlayStation. I got a Vive, and then I bought some games, played some, and then started looking around on YouTube for streamers streaming any PC VR to see if there was any games I could watch and recommend. And UK Rifter, where German Rifter got his name from.
What happened to Chris? Is he still going in?
Nah, he just give up with all VR. Sold all.
I get a bit of a meltdown with the
everything.
VR space, right?
Yeah. Found his stream. With Immerse Robot, who's just come back. VR Bug was playing with him.
Gary?
That Gary.
Gary left?
That Gary.
That's Immerse Robot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Well, it was just there's one that's just come back recently. He went quiet. He was in the VR Spies anyway on their podcast.
It might be Gary. I know he sort of stepped away from Recentered for a while.
And then we went on to... Yeah, we were playing Standout, and I was watching them, and I was like, oh, this looks great. And I think it was UK Rift just said, join my Discord, and I'll send you a key over. I think the developers have sent about 100 keys or something. It was like, oh, come on.
Which back in those days...
Yeah.
No, not easy to get rid of.
Nice, yeah. So you'll join my Discord, and I'll drop you one. I'll drop you a key, and you can play with us next time. Good. And then I played...
Oh god, I've just hit my Overwatch phase.
In my first...
I thought, right, Overwatch is going to be huge. I'm going to make a video with every single character, and every single one of those videos got about 3 views. Nobody cared.
I think my first... I mean, when I had my YouTube channel, my first video was unboxing the PlayStation VR. And launched it.
I didn't do unboxing, but yeah, I wish. Well, like I say, the DK2 was just completely foreign. Like it was all weird to me. Oh man. Okay, so this is 2 absolute classics that, once again, if I wanted to unnerve people a bit, if I wanted to unnerve them, Abe VR.
Oh yeah, that robot thing. That's yeah.
That was, and the last time I checked, it's still moderately functional. I've not checked lately, but I think it's on Steam, and I think you can still use it. I think you can still do it today. It's free, and it's 5 minutes of your time. Like, go download it, try it, just to see what it's like. But that was very... It wasn't scary, but it was very unnerving. And it looked great. It was, one of those really sort of ahead of its time kind of situations. I thoroughly recommend that.
I think I first did that on the CV1 because it's on my Oculus store, like in my history, in my like downloadable games in my library. Really like a movie, isn't it? Really like a video.
Which back in those days with the DK2, nothing was a game. It was all just a tester thing. But then straight after that, in June 2016, a couple of days later, I followed it up with Adrift. And oh, that game is stunning. That game was so good. Playing Adrift, and I played Adrift for hours. I think I did about 10 different videos on it. Whether any of them actually saw public, I don't know. But I did about 10 different videos on Adrift. So I was just playing it, just playing the story. And it was a fully fledged VR game that looked brilliant. And
I've got this in my library and I've ever played it.
Really? You've never played Adrift?
No, I've got it in my library.
So the thing with Adrift is that it's one of those games that you can, obviously it's space, so you can spin around and get a bit woozy. And I played Adrift and it never even occurred to me. I didn't hear about sim sickness for years. I was completely oblivious to it. And I played Adrift and I had no problem whatsoever. And the first time I felt it was actually a Tron bike demo, which messed me up. But yeah, I played Adrift and that was another one of those games that I was like, okay, this is special. VR is absolutely a great thing.
I've just chucked the link for Adrift in the chat because it's currently 80% off.
Yeah, Yeah, it's one of those that I think like every time you go on Humble Bundle, it's like £1. It's super cheap, but it was just so special back in those days
Mhm.
that it absolutely needs attention. It really does. I just realized the old channel, the dead defunct Gaming for Good 11 channel. There's no point in plugging it because it's dead. I did 398 videos. I was 2 away from 400. Might go back and just upload 2 videos to it just for the sake of it.
Has there been any like recent releases that have give you that feeling that you get when you're like first VR, like made your jaw drop, like, oh my god, this is like moving forward?
I was trolling through this lot to see the first time the Tatastic Gamer turned up. Modern games. So the most modern one that comes to mind, and I imagine you're instantly going to agree, is Red Matter 2.
Yeah.
I've never seen a version of that game that sucks.
Mhm.
And I've played it on multiple platforms: Pico, Quest, PSVR, PC. I cannot find anywhere that it sucks.
Mhm.
It is stunning. I they're not in this room. Well, no, they are in this room, but they're buried. I frequently take screenshots in video games, and it uploads to the Discord. And Red Matter, I spent more time taking screenshots of that game
Yeah.
than I did anything else. And the spoilers, I don't know. There's a dome in it. There's a dome, and when you go into the dome, and it's transitioning between red and blue or orange and whatever it is. Oh my god, I was in there for way too long.
Mhm.
Way too long. I was like, I'm gonna put this tree on this rock, and then I'm gonna get some screenshots. And I was just spent ages. It was so good, so good. So yeah, that definitely is one that instantly comes to mind if you ask me about modern sort of, oh my god, this is amazing kind of
Yeah.
thoughts.
Definitely a good shout.
Yeah. What's your like? What comes to your mind at that point?
I would say, and I mean, if the only Quest users are going to get the benefit of this is the Batman. When you first
Yes.
glide and you see the shadow of the bat like going down, and it's controlled by you opening your arms. I was like, God, that's like that's got my mind.
That's definitely. Yeah, the Batman. I went in with very low expectations. I did very low expectations. We've heard it all before, and it's one of those things. But no, they delivered in spades. They really did. Like they've set the golden standard for Batman games again. It's crazy.
You have an episode with Ryan, founder of Camouflage.
Yes.
You can also find that. I'll listen to that. He has a good conversation about Batman and things with him.
I would get you a link, but I'm in the wrong channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a modern marvel for sure.
I played one recently, and I'm not going to say much about it, but there is a moment in it which blew my mind, and I'm not really going to say anything because it'd spoil it for people. There's a part in Ghost Town, absolutely blew my mind.
Don't. I desperately want to play that game. It's just finding the time and the money. Yeah, that was my most anticipated of the year. And I desperately want to play that game. It's just it's one of those games that I want to play it, but I always feel like if I'm not streaming,
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not making content, then I'm wasting time. But I don't want to stream it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I really want to play that game in a big bad way.
Yeah, there's one part.
So
There's one part in it I was playing around loads and it blew my mind, like how smooth it all was and everything for what I was doing. I was like,
maybe I should play it by this time next month.
Mm.
Do you think? Does it
Maybe.
have to be Quest? Is there only a Quest version at the minute?
Yeah, PSVR 2 and PC's coming, but they haven't got a date at all.
Right. I've heard nothing but great things about that game. The room that they did before is the top whack. Like, yeah, this is the daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the top, the gold standard of VR escape rooms. It is amazing, and I went on to buy all of the flat games and play them and perfect them on PC. So I've got all the achievements and everything. Like I love those games. So yeah, I know I'm gonna love that game. I know I'm gonna love it. I just it's too many special occasions happen in May.
Yeah.
I have a nephew and a wife, both of which have hit milestone birthdays. So yeah, it's bad times. But
Mm-hmm.
I will get around to it. I will have to. I say for is that still a thing? Like this time next month? Is that still a plan? I'm being shady, but you can say it if it's true.
Still speak to them. They're very eager.
Okay.
I'll have to reach out to them because they were asking could we facilitate having 2 members of the team on and stuff, and I was like, yeah, like we can get two members of the
I'll
team
bow
on.
out if I have to.
So that was the last thing we heard, and I was like, okay, that sounds good. I'll have to message him because I don't know whether because of time zones. Again, it might be pre-recorded, so
It will. Yeah, that's certainly understandable. Well, that's fine. Don't mind doing that, and presumably the viewers don't mind either. I've hit the unboxing my CV1 back in February 2018, very late to the game. And March 2018 is when I first played Windlands on stream, on YouTube. So that's a thing. Detached was a great game.
I can remember.
Once again, space.
I bought my CV1. I went into game, and I mean, it was by the time the touch controls are out. I went into game, and I was just like looking at the back, and it was like at the time I had 5 free games of it, which was like Lone Echo, Robo Recall, and Lucky's Tale, and there was just a few that were like 5 things that were free with it, and I was like, oh, I had always wanted to play Lone Echo, so at this point I didn't know about Revive, so I was like, I'll just buy CV1 because it's got some good exclusives, and then found out Revive existed. But I don't regret it. Like, obviously works better natively than it does through Revive. So
yeah. Plus the CV1 had sticks and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have to use Revive.
Tracking was a bit weird, but right. Okay. No, this is so the first games that I was sent were The American Dream.
That was super funny.
And Apex Construct.
They were fantastic. Underrated.
Actually, I don't know if I was sent The American Dream. I might have bought it. But yeah, that's some of the my firsts. And then there's a bunch of games I'm like, wait, that was VR? It wasn't. I was a Vorpex nerd.
Yeah, I did Vorpex.
That's probably where I played Counter-Strike in VR. I was just a Vorpex nerd, but Suicide Guy
for so much. Well, I actually bought.
Yeah.
I actually bought Vorpex because I wanted to play those Elder Scrolls Online in VR, and then I just started tampering with it loads. And like, oh, Now they're
So I've
struggling.
answered my own question. No, you didn't actually play with me. It wasn't then. So it must have been this channel that
Yeah, Remarcus and probably
we
with
first.
Carnage Chronicles.
Yeah, I'm still gonna keep digging because I'm loving the nostalgia trip going down memory lane.
Yeah.
If anybody's bored, tell me, and then I can boot you because I'm a mod.
So the
No,
I think there's a game that
yeah.
I got to preview recently, which I think will blow some people's minds, which is Aces of Thunder.
Right, yeah.
Like,
That's I've seen it doing its rounds and people trying to get codes and stuff.
so if you enjoy, like, people will enjoy that who are big into that. Like like the simulation element is fantastic. Like, I've crashed the plane so many times in the first hour just trying to get it to leave the floor. Like,
I've played Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 or whatever it was, 21. And I had a great time in that, but I also had a HOTAS. But that HOTAS has started drifting a bit. So I don't know whether I want to strip that down and try and fix it, or if I just want to abandon that. But so why you got the Pro TAS handy?
I didn't try out the Protoss, but although I did play it with the advice to either use a HOTAS or use a game controller because they're still working on the touch controls. But I actually found the touch controls and pulling the levers and moving stuff like manually was like I was finding it much easier than using
nice.
a controller. Like,
I honestly, it's one of those things that I'm just like, if the opportunity comes along, I will happily play it. I'm not gonna hunt it down, but not like the only reason is because I've just got way too much stuff to do.
you can see it's still got work to do. Like with the touch controls, like they said, that's why they advised either to use a gamepad or use the joysticks on your touch controllers.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I want to play with levers, and then you can see why, because yeah, it still has. It's clearly had work to do, but I was like, this is the way I'm finding it easiest. Like, fly.
Another absolute tentpole moment for me is the first time I laid eyes on her.
Her.
That was a magical day. I was blown away by the care and attention that they gave that pretty little mouse.
Oh yeah. That's definitely
That is playing Moss for the first time. I didn't have a PSVR at that point. I was only PC, and it had obviously been done its rounds on PSVR and people had knew about it, but I didn't. And when I got Moss, the first time I actually played Moss, I stole it. I illegally downloaded it. Yeah, because I had no idea. I had no idea what it was about, and I was like, "Oh, platform games suck." And then after playing it for about 10 minutes, I went, "Oh, I need to go buy this now," and I went out and bought it, and I've bought it again, and again, and again, and again, and I just throw money at Polyarch. Like I dig Moss so much.
I sort of feel bad
So
because
much.
I've got Moss on every platform and I didn't pay for one of them. They just keep giving me it.
Admittedly, modern times, I have been definitely blessed by the gods of Polyarch who have provided me with a code for Moss 2 on various platforms. But Moss 1, that was an absolute like, oh wow, this is ridiculously special.
Yeah.
I love this,
Like,
and I'm obsessed with Quill.
You can still go in today and play it and still be like, the animation on Quill is so detailed, and
anybody who buys a Quest, they're like, oh, what game should I buy? I'm like, if you want to try it, try Beat Saber. I'll be honest, Beat Saber was quite a tentpole moment for me way back when I bought it. But I just struggle to recommend it now.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because it's changed that much, or if it's one of those. It's just like, look, if everybody's gonna buy a VR headset, I would much rather than play Beat Saber than download a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which most people are like, I want to play all the things I've seen on the internet. I want to play I'm a Cat. I want to play Beat Saber. I want to play freaking VR chat. I don't know. But the point is, I would rather than play Beat Saber than a roller coaster. I'm not going to recommend anybody overly buys it though.
No.
It's buy Synth Riders. It's more fun.
Mhm.
I had a point.
Use Moss, Phil.
Moss is definitely the game that I'm like, yeah, you should buy Moss.
Yeah.
If your budget will stretch to it, buy Moss. If not, buy Cubism and then work from there. But buy Moss. Because the thing is, Moss is a first-person game, but it's not.
Mhm.
So you are in the first-person view of the reader, so it's very, very comfortable.
Yep.
But you're controlling Quill, which is just a delight
And
through and through.
And you're helping Quill. Although
Yeah.
you've got your view of this first person, you've got to help her navigate areas by being involved and moving things in the environment and stuff. So yeah, they did fantastic with it. Like, I remember when I first saw the trailer, I was like you, it was like platformer, but and I was like, but it looks so cute. I'm gonna have to reach out to Polyarch who sent me on PlayStation. I mean, it shows how much I enjoyed Moss because when it came out on PC, they were giving away first ever Quill statue for the first one. For the first person to unlock the complete without dying achievement, and I spent 9 hours one Sunday trying to do it before I give up. And the reason I give up was it was right near the end where you're getting chased to go before you fight the final boss, and I missed one of those jumps and then died. And that was where I died, and I thought, I am not doing all that again without dying.
Oh, that's bad times.
Yeah, so I'll give up on trying to get it. Well,
I know Ball tried to cheese it.
Yeah, the thing is, you could do it on PlayStation because you could
just whip the save game.
Yeah, and so people have it on PlayStation, but I bet none of them. I bet there's not one of them has actually done it properly. Like, but yeah, I was like, I want that outfit. Yeah, and like I said, I spent about 9 hours on one Sunday just constantly playing it, trying to get that achievement. I was like, yeah.
I've never tried. I used to like going for a hard achievement. It's not so much a tentpole VR, ooh, you need to do this kind of moment, but it's definitely a special moment for me. And that was after I'd met Anna in London after playing After the Fall. I turned around to her. She was like, "Oh yeah, there's one achievement you'll never get," and I was like, "Oh yeah, what's that then?" She's like, "In Pixel Rip 1, there is to get all of the gold cartridges." And of course, we're in a bar, and I'm like, "All right, fair enough. I'll see your gold cartridge challenge, and I will raise you all of them, all of the achievements." And she's like, "Dude, don't even bother. Do Pixel Rip 2. It's easier." And I was like, "No, Pixel Rip 1." And she's like, "You're never gonna do it." And so, setting a morning on aside and getting all of the achievements in Pixel Rip 1 was a very, very special moment for me. And you were present, I think. The way I got the hardest achievement was so incredibly cheesy, and it's I'm not gonna lie, it's flat out cheating. But at the end of the day, it's not like I changed code or installed any mods or anything like that. So yeah, that was a special day for me in a big bad way, and I don't know whether it was the day in London or putting the time in and doing that and getting that achievement, but that obviously led me to having a relationship with Pixel Ripped. and the studio in general, which led to me actually being in Pixel Rip 3. And so it's a whole thing of just like a pure, this is what VR is all about for me in a big bad way. So Pixel Ripped is always going to have a special place, to the point that I recently bought the limited run games Pixel Ripped physical edition for 95 and 78.
Yeah.
Which has arrived and the disc is bouncing around inside of the box, and I'm like, oh, I want to leave it in the wrapper, but I also want to get inside to make sure it's okay. I don't know what to do.
And I bought the
collector's
edition for 89.
Yes.
That was on by Perp Games.
Yeah, 89. Yeah. So I've got the Perp Games special edition. Yeah. Fun fact, so those are signed by Anna. There's postcards in there. They're signed by Anna. Give him a sniff. I mean, at this point in time, it's been out for quite some time. So she turned around and she said, there's some very special editions of that game. And I was like, why? What are you on about? She says, well, I was signing these cards for hours and hours and it was boring. So I got some beers and I knocked a beer over onto about 20 of them. So some of them kind of smell like beer. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. So yeah, she is. If you ever have the pleasure of meeting Anna Ribeiro, absolutely do it. Because if you look at her on her socials, she's one of those people that when you see her, you can kind of get the impression that she just has fun spending her life being Anna Ribeiro. She's great. So yeah, I definitely, if ever you get the chance, you should absolutely go and meet Anna. She's an absolute force of nature in the best possible way. And I can answer the question now. After scrolling for very, 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 very long time, roughly 4 years after my VR journey began, I have come across 2 is better than 1. Winlands co-op with the Tatastic Gamer.
Oh, so it was Winlands.
So September 17th, 2018 is the first video I put out that featured you. I thought it was Onward, but no, it was Windlands. So I still don't know how I met you. That's the thing that bugs me.
Man don't smell a beer. I mean, they might have worn off by now.
Possibly. But yeah, that is the first time you show up on my videos.
I remember when I played Winlands. Like I said, when I first met John, I played Winlands 2 at Rezzed. It was he was obviously a queue to play. It got put with like 4 people who had never really done VR before, and it was the community manager then. He come and tapped me on the shoulder and told me to stop fighting the final boss because the other ones weren't even halfway there. It's like, they need to see fighting this boss.
I've never had anything. Not had anything. Well, wait, no, actually, I've obviously had something to do with the CM. Because the CM will be the one that reached out and gave me Winlands 2.
Yeah.
Because I played Winlands 2 long before you and I played Winlands 2.
I think to say his name was Luke. Oh, I might be getting that wrong.
Possibly. I've possibly even met the person in real life, and I don't even remember them. I've met I met a good couple of the Cytec Studio team, both past and present, and yeah, I don't remember, but Luke rings a bell. It does ring a bell.
Yeah, they'd come over, tap me on the shoulder, like, can you stop fighting the boss and just hang about for a bit? Okay.
So then we played Carnage Chronicles with Marcus Valles.
That's him.
And Tatastic Gamer.
Yeah.
That was in October 2018, so that was a month later. When did we play? Oh, we played it Onward in the back end of October in 2018.
Ah,
So Winlands was our first introduction. I just
Yeah.
don't know when our first introduction was. The only other thing I can think of is the German Rifter chat.
possibly.
But I don't think that was. I don't know. It is Carnage Chronicles kind of ran out of shit to do fast.
Yeah.
I think the first boss
It looked great,
was
though.
that with the souls, or was that me and you? The first boss, we kind of just cheesed it and ignored it. Of Carnage Chronicles, might have been me and you.
Yeah.
We kind of got to the first boss, and then we just walked through the door, and it was like, "Yeah, you're done."
Yeah.
And we were like, "We didn't fight it though."
Mm.
So yeah, it was an odd one, but a great one for sure.
So, is there any games where you thought you'd get that wow moment and it just let you down?
That's a good question.
It came to my mind.
Um,
It's a lot better now, but that question came to my mind because I was staring at something on my wall. I was like, oh yeah.
Don't know, because the thing is, most of the things I do, it's more the opposite.
Yeah.
Games that I'm just like, this will be a bit meh.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up being my favorite games. Smash Hit VR on the Oculus Go. I was like, oh my god, this is just an endless runaway. You're throwing balls. I put like 40 odd hours into that game.
Mm.
That was crazy. I can't think of any games that I expected to wow me and didn't. Maybe Budget Cuts.
Mm.
I know it's kind of shitty to say because it isn't a terrible game, but Budget Cuts, once again, not proud, but I maybe stole that one as well. I was poor at the time. I got my CV1 by. I was trying to improve my credit score. So I got the CV1 on a credit card. I was basically living off of that credit card, so I couldn't really afford games for it. But Budget Cuts, I got that, and I started playing it, and in Oculus, they released a version of that game that whoever pirated it basically had, and throwing the knives just didn't work. You just threw it, and it just went straight into the floor.
Yeah, I first played Budget Cuts on VivePort when I had the really nice community manager who like whitelisted me on VivePort. Then...
Right. That was a good time.
Yeah, I think that's when I tried Budget Cuts, and I wasn't overly impressed with it. It was like praised so much, you know. I don't know if I went in expecting too much. Yeah, it does what it does.
When I played that, I then said, right, well, I can't put a video out on this because it's clearly not right. But then I actually bought Budget Cuts because, you know, it's what you do. And it was still a broken mess, even at that point. I still couldn't throw for the life of me in Oculus, whereas in Vive, it's fine. But they did later patch it, not too long after I put my video out where I said, is Budget Cut still a broken mess? It was, but it is better now. And then they released a sequel, which is fantastic. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever had any game that I expected to blow me away and it didn't. I've had games that have disappointed me for sure, but none that I've expected and it's not met that. Yeah.
The one that made me think of the question was, like I say, it's fixed now and it's great, but No Man's Sky. When that first come out, that was such an unoptimized mess. Like, it was pointless trying to play it.
I think one of my biggest, if like gun to the head, pick one, probably Vader Immortal. Vader Immortal, the combination of it being just half a story, which bugged the crap out of me, and everyone's like, "Oh, the freaking Jedi training." Blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. I wanted a Star Wars story, and it was just over too quick. I was back in the old DK2 games where experiences were 20 minutes long and you didn't really do a great deal. It was gimmicky. It was annoying, and I had to keep buying and buying and buying it. And I was like, I don't like this.
I think I bought them when it
So
was £10 for the 3 of them or something in one of the Oculus sales. I think that's when I got them all.
You
like
still
the bundle.
overpaid.
I've only played the first one.
You
I
still
don't think I went
overpaid.
back after the first one to any of the others.
So yeah, that kind of let me down a bit, I think. But other than that, most of the time I've been pleasantly surprised.
One that really surprised me. I mean, it's a part of what we're having now. Mixed reality.
Just in general.
No, one I was interested in, but I didn't think it was gonna blow me away, and that's Eggy. It's like a virtual pet looking after a dragon, growing, like helping a dragon grow to be ready to go outside. And I just thought it looks like a fun idea, and I was like, I'll probably play it to review it, and like until a couple of days ago, I've been going in every single day, like for an hour to make sure it's
dealing with
it's
your
happy,
Pokemon.
to make sure it's like growing and happy and
Tamagotchi.
yeah.
That's
surprised me.
sad. But I guess it is what it is. There was another one that I thought about it 2 minutes ago, and then I've moved away in life. A game that did it shock me in a good way or a bad way? I want to say a good way, and going backwards didn't help. Dagnabbit, hang on. Tetris Effect didn't have high hopes for that.
No.
No, a game that let me down. Freaking Saints and Sinners, man. That cut me so deep, like that hurt me so bad. I've still not gone back to it since the release day.
I enjoyed the first one. Second one let me down. I think the second one was because it should have been DLC. Like, they didn't really change anything apart from give it more story. I was like, it should have really just been DLC. That. I mean, it's a 13-hour game still, but so it could have been DLC. Could have been DLC.
That's fair. Sam and Max was a bit of a letdown. To be honest. Yeah, that was definitely a thing.
Micro Machines let me down.
Oh, that could have been the chosen one. It really could. There's so many fond memories of Micro Machines, and just they shit the bed with that one in a big bad way.
The one that's let me down the most recently was Pirates VR, Jolly Roger.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
But yeah, I thought it could have had such a good thing to it, and it just got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna run past the enemies, and enemies are
the parrot's a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, shot the parrot.
So all right, I'm not that far into it. I've just got to the first, I want to say puzzles. I'm picking up bits of I've picked up little bits of rock and put them in a thing, and I need to figure out how to open a door. But up until that point, I was like, "This is very, very nice. I like this."
Visually, is very,
it's very pretty.
Visually, it's very nice, but I just didn't take like. It was one of these ones I was like, I'll go and review it. I want to play it to the end. I'm just going to do the puzzles, and just got that bored of it. I was like, I'm just going to run through it. I can.
Right.
Like, yeah, I expected a lot
more. It looks
more.
great in the Pimax. Looks absolutely stunning in the Pimax. but they're bringing a PSVR version. And I was like, send me that because I want to see it when it's actually got frames. And so they're gonna send me it, but that's a shame what you've just said, that it essentially gets worse. Oh, I've just hit one video that was just an absolute farce. Arashi's Castle of Sin.
Oh, that's one that let me down.
2022. I wanted Tenchu Stealth Assassin, and what I got was just pointless. Absolutely pointless.
I even tried the PlayStation VR 2 version in the hope that they'd fix it, but it was just so bad. Just had newer visuals.
Wow. So they didn't even.
No, they must have fixed this. More like the movement in it was terrible.
That's bad times.
Trying to think of ones.
Other than that, modern stuff. I'm hard to impress now.
Happy Funland.
That's the bad thing.
Happy Funland was one of the biggest disappointments ever.
Didn't go anywhere near it.
Didn't
go anywhere near
it. It could be like fantastic horror game, and it was just bollocks.
The park. I wanted the park in VR. But that never seemed to happen. I think it was scheduled to happen, but it never did.
A game that really shocked me,
nice.
actually. I'm just going through my reviews and thinking, see what games I've played over the years. That really shocked me. Like, I didn't expect it to be, because it was Ghost Signal.
Yeah. Ghost Signal is another one of those games that you can. I don't think it's overly complex. Would you say it was like? Would you put a newbie in it?
Yeah. As long as I played the tutorial.
I think I'd be alright with it.
As long as I played the tutorial to understand how you move and stuff, I don't think they'll have many issues.
Yeah, I do. There is so many great games, so many games that I would happily recommend to folks. Last Clockwinder, brilliant game, and it's one that uses my problem is I'm always going to go for puzzles. So playing playing Tetris in the VRverse moved me to ways that I never dreamt possible. Just playing. I think it was a perfect storm of everything that was happening on. I did first play that around the beginning of COVID. So then playing that, the vibrations of the Wuja and the lyrics of Connected really resonated at just the right time. So I'm in the cosmos, so it's some of the best visuals I've ever seen. I'm playing Tetris, which is exquisite anyway. And yeah, I think it all just sort of caught me at the right time, and it moved me in ways that I've never had a flat game do. And so that's always going to have a special place in a big bad way. Cubism, once again, setting the goal of I'm going to finish all of these puzzles. I'm going to do it before everybody else. And actually achieving that goal, that was another one that was a great moment for me. But obviously, other people aren't going to have the same experience. And then there are other people that buy VR because they want to just shoot things or slash blocks, which is totally fine. VR is what you want VR to be. You go and live your life and have your joy. Buy a VR headset because you want to paint stuff in Vermilion or King Spray. You want to play chess. Buy VR for whatever reason is. I don't care how you VR, just VR.
Yeah.
But for me, they are moments that have absolutely just made VR for me.
The only thing that like hurt my soul a bit today, listening to Cross Button VR podcast with T and Laurie.
Don't even get me into that.
Someone had been saying that, like T was saying, like he's had he's read comments around Ghost Town saying, "Can you just skip all the dialogue and the story? I don't want the
Why?
a story in my game. I just want to play the game." I'm like, and that's my soul. Like, a story makes a game. Like, to me. But then
Yeah.
I did sort of put it down to it's the current generation's short attention span. Like,
The sadly, at this point in time, the
They've-
current generation of kids, Fortnite is
Mhm.
like the pinnacle of gaming for them.
yeah,
Just as a previous generation, Minecraft was the pinnacle of gaming.
don't mention
And
Minecraft. I've started playing Minecraft.
it's one of those things that I guess look at Star Wars. So
Mhm.
people that were born in the 70s, maybe a slightly like back end of the 60s or even the 80s, Star Wars was the original and best movies.
Mm.
And then kids that were born in the late 90s, early 2000s, 1, 2, and 3 are way better to them than 4, 5, and 6. But people that like 4, 5, and 6 is like Star Wars Episode 1 is about politics and is boring. And I guess that's the thing. Every generation is going to have their Star Wars.
Mhm.
And not everybody's just going to agree. I don't care for Star Wars Episode 1 at all. It's probably the one I watch the most of, but that's because I got to a point in my life where I managed to lay my hands on a really crappy copy of it. And it was special to have a copy of a film that was in the cinemas back in the early 2000s. So I watched it a bunch, but it wasn't great at all. I own it a million times. I've admitted to piracy 1,000 times in this podcast. I own them all. Stop it. Also, I'm the supervillain of VR. Of course, I pirated them. Sorry, what? I got on a tangent about Star Wars. Oh yeah, so kids want Fortnite and don't want narrative games, and that's fine as long as developers don't stop making games for us.
Yeah.
Not everybody developer has to. It's something that I said recently, and it comes up all the time. So back in the DK2 days, everybody was making it just because the technology was there and it was new and it was special and it was weird. And so those games and those things that came out at that time were developed by passion
Mhm.
and fun and joy and the want to see it happen. And then now we're getting into the point where VR is a business. It's becoming more and more popular by the moment. And so as a result, people are going to have to start going to where the money is, which is
Meta.
the Fortnites and all the other garbage. But there is hopefully always going to be that one indie dev has their story to tell and they want to tell it.
Mhm.
And they're going to be the ones that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Population 1 exists, and I know it's not for me.
Yep.
And I don't care. That's fine. It can exist. We can coexist. People can like Pop 1. I'm not one of those people, but it's fine. But as long as the indies and hopefully the AAA, because the thing is, I don't want to say they flopped because I honestly don't know the numbers. But you see people bring games out, and once again, I was mentioning I love the Pixel Rip folks. When they turned around to me and told me that they were making Rocket League with cats, I was like, I get you look at the internet, everybody's obsessed with Rocket League. You look at the internet, everybody's obsessed with Gorilla Tag. You look at the internet, everybody's obsessed with cats. A plus B plus C equals profit. I completely understand it. Please don't spend too much time, money, or hang too many hopes on this game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to work. And when you look at it, it's a shame but the lobbies are empty.
Sort of. My Dearest have gone down that, haven't they? Like, they made...
Not even that. So they made Brazen Blaze.
Yeah.
Which is a fine PvP shooter, which is great. But their game wasn't even free to play.
But I mean, now they're going through, like,
it.
Buy Me That Chain, like the remake, like the VR version.
Chain
like,
Together and Climb Me.
Together.
Yeah.
They're all aiming for, like...
They're basically just going for tried and tested. X8. X8 was fun.
X8 was funny.
But they are basically going what's popular and churning out a VR version of it.
Because in, like, before that, like, everything was visual novels, which I absolutely loved. Like, Tokyo Chronos, Aldeus, Discronia. Like, I love them all. Like, I know they've sort of, like, moved away from that. I'm like, oh yeah, we want...
I
I
don't
need
know.
some more of that.
I don't know whether they are...
I mean, they might be
now
working
just
on that
chasing
in the
the quick
background.
buck or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brazen Blaze, I turned around to them, I was like, what's your business model for this? They're like, oh, we're gonna do like a battle pass and, you know, constant updates. So I was like, all right, brilliant. So it's free to play. No. What? Not free to play. No. You pay for it. What? Why? Why would I pay for this game? Your lobbies are gonna be dead. I've not been back to it. They're like, oh, Doc, come play this. I'm like, I don't own the game. I'm never going to ask you for a key. I don't understand why. I don't understand why you've done this. But hopefully it's successful for them. I don't want any dev to fail. I want them to succeed. I just don't understand devs making multiplayer games for VR because we're just not there yet.
No.
Don't get me wrong, there are a few exceptions that prove the rule that, you know, we can have multiplayer games. There is the Gorilla Tags, there is the Onwards, but a lot of those happened because they were the only ones.
Yeah.
So unless you've got a brand new, unique game path, I think you're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
And I literally turned around to them with Clawball and I was like, why do I want to play your game over this game or this game or this game? And they were like, we didn't even know those games existed. I was like, this game already exists. It's on Steam and on Lab. It's free. And nobody cares.
So when I saw Clawball, it just made me think of Knock.
Yeah.
I was like... Which I didn't really get into.
One of the games I brought up to them. They knew about Knock, but they were like, yeah, but this isn't bow and arrows. This is cats and hands with gorilla tag movement. I was like, that's fine, but that game already exists. You can do football. You can do basketball. You can do many different game modes in that. What's your unique selling point? They're like, what game? I can't remember what it was. Something to do. I did a video on it and I was like, balls. Look at my balls or something like that. I think it might be called Sports Ball or something as interesting as that. But I was like, yeah, why would you make this? I don't understand. So I hope that they have a great time, but I don't know why people keep doing it. I really don't. You have to be incredibly special and unique or incredibly lucky. You can't just follow trends like that. You can't. Well, no, you can, because this is what I think My Dearest is doing. They're just following the trend.
Yeah.
Oh, people like Chain Together. Brilliant. Chain Together. There you go. I honestly don't know how long that game's been in development, but yeah, they released it, and they released it for free for at least a while anyway. So yeah, they did that.
There's one that's
Climb Me
just recently come out by Studio Never Heard of before, but they reached out to me. I went into it this week, and that was basically a remake, a VR version of Content Warning. The Content Warning's got a VR mod. This one made.
Okay. Yeah.
It's on App Lab at the moment, and I just think it's like $3.99, but it needs a lot of work still. No options in the game. The music plays over the microphone volume, and all. It's just like no
Right.
comfort options. You've got like you can like smooth locomotion, but you can only use snap turn. There's no like put smooth like continuous turn on, and there's just no settings in it at all, and it's easy to break. We broke it loads of times in the hour and a half we played it. Like explaining the people I played with never played content warning, so I was trying to explain to them. It was like midlife veteran and Scottish gamer, trying to explain to them like what we need to do. And then next thing, someone's put the new camera inside the machine that was open, thinking we'd get the tape from the camera we'd lost when we'd all died in the last run. I was like, no, but now we don't even have a camera to use this time because it didn't like it just took it and gave us a blank tape, and so we couldn't. And the camera was gone. And we went in the lift, and it was like you can't go. You can't like you don't have a camera, so you can't go. And like we have to like, and then again because there's no pause button, we have to exit out of the whole game to relaunch it to get back in. And so it's like it needs a lot of work.
Oh, that's yeah. But I suppose that's one of the wonderful things about being who we are. We're incredibly privileged, incredibly blessed
Yeah.
that developers will give us these opportunities to check their stuff out,
Mm-hmm.
and all being well, they listen.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do, hopefully we can make positive changes for the art
Yeah.
form that, contrary to what you may believe listening to us for the last 2 hours of your lives, we absolutely love and adore.
Yeah.
There are a million games that we've not mentioned that truly do need mentioning.
Yeah.
But I don't have the time or the bandwidth to remember them all. Luckily, there is a wonderful website, thevrrealm.com, that does have a lot of games on there that you can look at, and he's spot on with. I agree with at least most of these. I've not tried Arcane Age. I want to. It looks lovely, and you very much enjoyed that by all accounts. Metro, once again, great game. I loved playing what I've played. But as always, I hit 20 minutes, and it's not actually 20 minutes. I hit a point in the game, get distracted, move away, and then never go back.
There was one when I was
So I need to.
scrolling through. I was going to mention the games that surprised me, and I know you're going to agree because I know how much you love this game. The Invisible Hours.
Oh, I was looking through my back catalog, and the Invisible Hours was going to be one of the ones that I was
Yeah.
like, yes, I need to mention this. Yeah, absolutely. I perfected that game as well. Like 100% gamer score, whatever they call it on Steam. Got all the achievements. Yeah, beautiful game. It was so unique and weird and shocking and fun. I love it.
I seen the trailers and I thought this is either going to be one. I played it on PSVR 1 when it like ahead of it releasing, and I was just like, this is going to be one that I'm either going to go in and absolutely love. I'm going to go in and absolutely hate. And in my head, I thought, I don't think it's going to be one I actually like. And then as soon as you're in there and you learn the whole premise of you can be anywhere at any like one point, and you can rewind and go and watch what someone else is doing at that part and stuff, I was like, oh my god, this is like this is unbelievable.
That's the thing. It was so unique and weird
Yeah.
and different to me that I was absolute, because like you, like everybody's seen the Invisible Hours, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. It is what it is. But then the thing about me, I saw what it looked like. I was like, this is a one-shot deal. This is kind of boring. But then I saw the price, and I was like, wow, that is really expensive. I don't want to pay that for something that I'm only going to get an hour or two's content from, like enjoyment. And then since then I've joined the converted masses of just like, just pay it.
Yeah.
Pay it and play it.
You don't know
Fine.
how special until you played it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Now, it helped that I had the writer of the story jump into my live stream because they were curious about what I thought about the game. No, they would jump into the stream, and because obviously they wrote it, they're like, so who do you think's done it right now? And they would ask me probing questions to get me thinking. And that made it a very special experience for me, and I will never forget that. Or as long as I go, I will never forget that. And it's actually the same person that wrote Arizona Sunshine 2.
Uh-huh.
And they also wrote the John Cena movie Jackpot, I believe. I think it was Jackpot. They've definitely written something for Netflix recently. Oh yeah, no, it was Netflix. John Cena was the Jackpot was actually Prime. I'll Google it in a minute. But yeah, so Rob jumped into the stream, and Jackpot is great. With it, that's a different podcast that I don't host. Honorable mention: Synapse. Anyone?
Synapse. So many
what a game!
Angel Synapse. Static. Really underappreciated
Yes.
game. Should have been a second one.
Yeah, that was another one that was on my list of stuff that absolutely needed to come up today.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Jackpot. They did write Jackpot. I was right.
Ah.
Yeah, Rob wrote Jackpot. Arizona Sunshine 2, The Twilight Zone VR. Well, they can't all be winners. Rhyme, writer on The Division. Rambo, the video game. Crisis 3, uncredited writer. And 2. And Haze. Holy crap.
Dear.
What a back catalogue. Rob, we want you on the show because that's one hell of a freaking resume.
We need to find a way to reach out to him.
Yeah, I'm going to probe Rob.
Yeah.
One time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Born in Camden. I think they live. Do they live in Camden still? I don't know. I wanna DM Rob and see what they say.
Definitely. Yeah, you get in touch.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I was typing in the chat about questions. I'm going to carry on.
Yeah. A nice episode, just reminiscing. Past.
I know it's
present.
Good to look back in a positive way.
Yeah. I mean, been doing VR so long shows that it's got a grip of us. Like.
Oh, I mean, like I said, it's 12 years in September.
Yeah.
For me at this point, so I'm in a big bad way.
A little decade. October next year. 2006.
We should do something to mark the occasion. The October the 6th.
October the whatever it was.
Find out the date, because October's obviously a month for quite a few of us. Maybe we'll all get together and
I was trying
do it live.
I've just searched 10 years in October 2026. I don't know why. I was trying to find out the release date of the PlayStation VR. The release date of that will be exactly when it's on. October the 6th, 10th of October 2016. 10th of October 2026 will be 10 years.
October the 10th, you say?
Yeah.
Huh. How weird I didn't get a PSVR. So that's a Friday. But maybe the 11th and 12th if I'm not busy. Could potentially do something.
It'd be 2026 or not this year.
26?
Yeah.
You fucking amateur.
Yeah, 2026.
There's another thing that I saw earlier that I was like, oh Christ, we need to shout that out. Wanderer. That was a good looking game. So many great games. So many games I've had such a great time with.
Lone Echoes.
Yeah, they were ones that were on my
I rate them higher than
to-do list.
I rate them higher than Half-Life Alyx. I think they're the best VR you're going to play. Lone Echo.
That's
1 and 2.
If they brought out Half-Life Alyx 2, I would play it.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
But I've never played Lone Echo 2.
Lone Echo 2.
So take from that as you will. The I Expect You to Die series.
Yep.
once again, it's a puzzle game. I don't know whether it's just me and puzzle games.
I expect you to die series.
God, you need to play them.
You need to play them just for the opening sequences.
They are exquisite. Yeah, they are. Just if you don't have VR, just Google them.
Yeah.
Just look them up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. That is definitely an honorable mention right there. Why is there a picture of an Asian girl up her skirt on your website? Oh, Disaster Report 4. Okay. I never played that.
Up a skirt?
Well, I mean, she's wearing an incredibly short skirt. I may as well be able to see the crotch.
Any like
Westworld Awakening. Look great. Not a lot to do.
How many what weird games have you played in your extra time? You just made me think with Disaster Report. Disaster Report wasn't really a weird game, but there's games like Galgun.
Weird games.
Like I played Galgun, which is a weird one. You're shooting anime girls with your love gun to make them fall in love with you.
I mean, it depends on your definition of weird. Is there a game that I wouldn't openly admit to playing? Sure, VR Paradise, but that's because I don't want to seem like the massive pervert. In fact, no, it's not even that. I just don't want people thinking that the best thing I've got to do is sit there and whack off to virtual strippers. The models look lovely, but it's not that arousing, really. It's quite boring. I think the strip clubs to me is one of those things that I've always been like, what's the point? A strip club to me is like going to Legoland. Like, you can see all of the pretty things, but the fun is with the playing with it. So, like, I don't want to go to Legoland. I just want to go to WH Smith's and buy Lego. So, I don't need a strip club in my life. So that's maybe the reason why I'm less enthused by it. But the models look exquisite.
Because Chupa Chupa VR, where you have to lick all the girls' stuff when she's not in the classroom. That's another weird one.
What weird shit are you playing?
You lick recorders and stuff.
I honestly, I don't think I've ever. I think the weirdest thing I've ever played is Butts. It's Butts VR. I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever played. It's not that weird. I've admittedly in the DK2 days there were definitely a lot of weird cheese dream kind of experiences, but I don't know if I would ever call them games. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but. Yeah, there was one that was like Dumpy Goes Nuts or something, where you're an elephant and you were catching things on your trunk or beating things with your trunk. I can't remember which. So there was that. So
Chupa Chupa, you just see a big tongue sticking out your headset from your view, and then you've just got to either move the things up and down on your tongue or move your head like you're licking them. It's up to you how we play it. But then you also
VR is probably the most recent weird game I've ever played. Where you have to, like, the only way to really do anything is to bob your head. And I was like, that's all well and good. As a content creator, that is vomit inducing for my viewers. I'm not going to play that.
Yeah, we've got.
So, yeah,
weird.
That's.
The Dominatrix Simulator. Which, when you start it up, goes, we recommend you play this game naked for full immersion.
Okay, fair. That's fair. Yeah, if that's what you're into, that's totally fine.
That was gifted to me by a certain Swedish person.
Oh yeah. That's.
And I thought I'm gonna have to go in and just say I've launched it at least. It's a gift. Yeah, and it just
I did VR, UE VR a game, so that kind of doesn't count. And it was called Lust for the Devil. Yeah, I don't recommend that at all.
Which one did I have VR through? I think it was through Vorpex. Weird one is Agony. That's a weird game.
Can't say I'm familiar.
And I think they actually released a proper VR version of it. In it. Well, I tested it for them and told them that they've done a really bad VR. The VR pod's terrible. I don't know if they actually released it.
sometimes what it needs. Sadly.
But yeah.
But yeah, as far as weird goes, that's probably the weirdest is pigeons.
I'd probably say Chupa Chupa for me because it's just a bizarre concept.
It is a crazy concept for sure. I did play Dash Dash World.
Yeah.
No, that's Mini Motocross. So there was a point where devs were reaching out with go-kart games, and there was about 5 of them all at the same time,
Yeah.
and one of them stood out, and I want to say it was Dash Dash World.
Yeah.
Mini Motocross was fine, but it didn't wow me.
With the VR carts.
I think Mini Motocross was the Ivanovich games, was it?
Mm.
And Dash Dash World wasn't. Dash Dash World, you could actually one hand drive and the other hand attack people. It was the closest you had to the Mario Kart arcade game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is definitely a game. I did like Dash Dash World over the others. Yeah. Touring Cars was Ivanovich. Right, so Ivanovich, I told them that their game was boring, and they stopped sending me games. Oh no, whatever am I going to do? I'm never going to get to play an old school shooting game again in VR or a side-scrolling Galaxian kind of game. To be fair, those games are quite fine, especially if you're nostalgic for them. But yes, I told them that sucked, but I like Dash Dash World over all of them.
Yeah. The question for 13 we can probably finish on. I have to try and think. I've just been looking at it. Where the hell is it? Oh, I scrolled to it.
So a game that didn't hit the mark, if you could give it to another studio to remake, which game and which studio? I think I've said about 10 different games and I can't remember of a single one.
Yeah.
Game that didn't hit the mark.
I mean,
have I mentioned any games?
An easy one.
Yeah.
An easy one I can think of, which I mentioned earlier, which was like probably the biggest letdown, is Micro Machines. And just give it to people who made Mini EX, which we tried to play and we couldn't because we were playing on VRverse and it didn't have the multiplayer. We were trying to play with the Souls, an actual proper Micro Machines type game. Yeah, just give them.
We found a way around it with Battle Wake.
Yeah.
In the sense of the servers were dead, so we could just host a public game and we would find each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, the VRverse just doesn't seem to have a way of making games multiplayer, which is weird as hell.
Well, I'd give them Micro Machines. I'd give them a Micro Machines license and tell them to bloody do something proper.
Yeah, that's fair. What game missed the mark for me? I mean, I know I shouted out the thingy budget cuts, but they got it right in the end, so that's fine. I can't think of a single game that I went, wow, you were the chosen one. I've literally said that about a game tonight, you were the chosen one, and I don't remember what that game was. Probably Micro Machines, to be fair.
You did say Micro Machines should have been the one when I said Micro Machines was terrible.
It really should.
Yeah.
Such a great opportunity, and then they just didn't. Anybody that was listening, come on. See, Grid was apparently bad, but I've never played it to say it was actually bad. But Codemasters did that anyway, right?
I think so.
I don't know who developed it. Typically, Codemasters are pretty good, but
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if at the end of the day, studio wise, at this point, Camouflage have done no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're most likely going to be. It depends on the game.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a single game that I was just like, that should have been done better.
Yeah.
See, Saints and Sinners, as much as I hated Saints and Sinners, it was the better game. Because we all remember the other travesty that Servios released. The Walking Dead Rinse and Repeat. What the fuck was that called?
Walking Dead.
I literally saw it on your website earlier, thevrrealm.com. Where did it go? Overkill, was it? Something like Walking Dead Onslaught.
Onslaught, yeah.
Yeah, they should have really, really, really nailed that.
Definitely.
And they didn't. But who would I give it to? Like, who's done zombies really, really well? Vertigo? Maybe?
Vertigo is on.
I think they've proven themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, final answer. I'm saying Vertigo should have done Onslaught. But that said, they've got their own brand of zombie game. Like, why do they need to sully their reputation with freaking Walking Dead? Like, they are way better.
And so they've got like a control over Arizona Sunshine, where imagine trying to put that sort of humor into a Walking Dead thing, it wouldn't go down very well and stuff like that, would it? So
yeah, I don't think you could probably shoehorn Arizona Sunshine into a Walking Dead skin. I don't think it would work.
No.
I think Arizona Sunshine is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely say that about Spidey. Said it a million times. There've been 2-3 Spider-Man experiences in VR. Just give it to Just give it to Cytec.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Just give it to Cytec.
Mm-hmm.
They will make you a good swinging game. So that's definitely a missed opportunity. The other one that I would really like to see, maybe a bit of oh god, I've just thought of some real turds. It wasn't even a game. The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That should have been given away free on packets of freaking crisps. That was terrible. So bad. That was just a promotion for the film. It wasn't even that. It was just so bad. They should be ashamed of themselves for putting that out. Just like terrible 360-degree pictures, not even videos, pictures. And you just kind of stood there and hated that so bad. So yeah, I've said a million different things here. Never truly give you an answer, but at the same time, just no. I downloaded it. I never played the Ready Player One Oasis. I hear it was serviceable for about 20 minutes. When I went to play it, it didn't work. I was just that late.
Yeah. I think
we'll end terrible.
We'll end on that note for this episode. Had a good reminisce.
I've had a great time, and hopefully you guys have too.
We'll be back next month. I might have a guest, we might not. I need to confirm how it's going to work, or if it's still happening at the moment. So we might have a guest. It might just be us two. Just don't know.
I have a different guest. You never know.
Guest, yeah.
But do you know one thing you can depend on? One thing that you will have a good time with?
Juggling your balls.
VRrealm.com. For the home of reviews, previews, editorials, and of course, this podcast. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, wherever podcasts are podcasted.
And then you can also find the VOD at a later date over on Oculus VR on YouTube.
I really need to nail down an exact time frame. I truly do.
It goes up when it goes up.
I log into my account rarely, and I'm like, "Oh crap! I've got to put a video. Like, I've got to put the thing live." Just schedule it for whenever you want. I really don't mind. If you want to make it a week, do you get any views on the VOD?
But on Twitch, no, not really.
Then just make it live as soon as you want. It's